Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Mike. Today I will talk to you about Masterpiece exclusives, and not so much a list of Masterpiece exclusives, but why they all seem to make sense. It's all really good exclusives. They're figure selections that should be exclusives. Unlike what we see with kind of Hasbro and how they make you chase your tail when you're trying to collect, and some exclusives sell out fast, hard to get, and then sometimes they remedy it by reissuing down the road. We're going to talk about all of this and more coming up. I have to admit, a lot of times I envy people that only collect the Mainline and no Masterpiece. Now, I prefer Masterpiece. Number one, if I just went to collecting one Transformer line, it would be a Masterpiece, and I would probably even sell off G1 before I sold off my Masterpiece stuff. But looking at this, Hasbro's made it hard. It's made it really hard to collect certain items. And this is an old exclusive where this was the only way to really get an Ironhide at the time. And sadly, people paid a lot of money for this set on the secondary market. And then now they put out a whole new mold that's better. I mean, people could argue pluses and minuses to each mold, but kind of chasing your tail with this set, collectors found themselves getting ransacked to try to get a ransack. This is a $70 set or $70 something set, and the only figure I even cared about in this was ransack. I waited till it went on sale. I got mine for like $60. But see, this is the kind of stuff that Hasbro makes you jump through these hoops. There is no reason ransack could not have been its own release on its own. There's no reason for it to be an exclusive, but yet it was an exclusive. And on top of it, that would have been fine. Just go to Target and get one. But on top of it, you got to buy 3 of the figures you don't want and either sell them off or pay somebody a premium to buy their ransack. Ransack now, you are seriously getting ransacked. I remember I bought my set for $60 and I saw people selling them for $30 for the one, and I thought, man, I'm almost tempted to buy one for $30 and have a loose one. And I guess I should have, because look, 89 is the best that's out there. And I remember seeing these for $40, and when they announced the other 2-pack set, that's another exclusive, the other set to get the other 2 more of these, and then one's going to be a standard release. Doesn't make any sense, but this thing shot up in price. I remember a lot of people were angry about Fangry. Yeah, that rhymes, and it's exactly true that to get Fangry has no business being in this, so let's just call it Worlds Collide. So, yeah, a lot of stuff's going to collide in here. By the way, that Bumblebee was sought after as the best Bumblebee for a while. I guess the new one might beat it. I don't know, but I had to get this set, and it was like another $70-something set just to get a Fangry that should have been either $20 or $30, depending on, is that a Voyager? But yeah, I don't think anybody was more frustrated about anything other than this Seeker Elite set. And that was an Amazon exclusive. It was $60. It wasn't really a cheap exclusive right away. And I picked mine up, and I let mine go for the stupid whatever price it was going for. I didn't need it that much. But they've since reissued them separately, and with all of that, these are hoops they make you jump through. Now, this is another silly thing. Why not just release a set of 3? Why not do all 3 of them as exclusive to Target? Well, the third one is a Target exclusive. So they're making you chase your tail to complete a set, but Masterpiece doesn't do that to you. I really feel like in 99.99% of cases in the Masterpiece realm, we get something as an exclusive that not every collector is going to want. And we get these repaints of these Seekers. There are people out there that love these repaints, and they're going after them. And I have to put this out there, before the Deformation Space came out, before Takara's 3.0, which they call a 2.0 version of Seeker, came out, this was the mold. This was the top mold for Seeker. It was unanimously, everybody wanted this more than any other Seeker that was out there. So it was still a decent mold. But I feel like we've kind of gone a little bit past this mold, but it's still okay if you're picking it up for all these different colors. See, they put these different colorations out for convention exclusives, and not everybody wants that. I don't want them. I didn't buy any of them. I really don't care. I have what I need for the Seekers. I don't need to go past the 6, the 3 cone heads and the 3 main ones. I'm good. Past that, I don't have space for all that to display it. I mean, I guess I have space to leave in the box or something, but some people do, though. Some people really, really want these different recolors, and you're only going to get it for a short period of time. Then they sell out, and then they get hard to get and expensive and all that kind of stuff. But this is exactly what exclusive should be. Exclusive should be something that you actually don't need in your collection. It's not a main character. And if they're going to do an exclusive, it usually has a lower production run. And with the lower production run, it's also going to they're going to sell less. There's not going to be as high of a demand. And yeah, usually a little bit higher price. I do want to commend MMC. Now, in this picture, I think there's at least 3 of their con exclusives in this picture here. I haven't kept up with exactly everything they've released and how they've released it, but I think these are going to be exclusives going forward for their G2 combiner for the Bruticus. But their exclusives, I mean, I look at them and I say, yeah, I don't need that. Which makes me feel good. Now, I say that about some of their exclusives, but not all of their exclusives. But I'm going to say that their exclusives aren't necessary. They're just fun offshoots. I'm going to give you a few examples of what I'm talking about here. Now, this was an amazing figure. I'm so glad it was pretty easy for anyone that wanted it to get it. Show Z had it. I'm not sure if they still have it in stock or not. I know I got it right away. And that's another thing. If you get an exclusive, when you're seeing it's, hey, I do want that exclusive, as soon as it comes into stock, you got to buy it. Because generally, these are much, much lower quantity items. And you have to accept the fact that these are much, much higher priced items than the counterparts that they're going to be accompanying. So that is a situation, that is an issue, but I really do like it. Now, I do have this issue, and I haven't messaged Shozy Store yet, but I never got my Steeljaw, the standard MMC cassette that was supposed to be the exclusive. Now, I don't know when they plan to get their stock, or if they're never going to get it, or something fell through in there. I mean, I got my $1 deposit. It's not a big deal. But I have the standard one. And see, that's one of the problems, though, is I'm not going to risk missing out on the standard one waiting for the exclusive. And I know it always takes a little longer to get the exclusive. So with that, like, I missed out on this. But I have the standard one. Really, looking at this and looking at mine, the only real difference is that chrome, that beautiful chrome on those wing laser pieces. They do repaints of their Azalea, and I think it's a great mold. It is an excellent figure, excellent mold, great RC. It's almost kind of like a middle ground. The transformation's not too bad. It looks pretty good. It's not ridiculously G1, but it's not over-sexualized or anything like that. So it's a pretty good mold. I think they do good with that. But I want to say their best exclusive is this old mold here. This is the Sphinx Regenesis. Now, not this exact exclusive, but they've taken this Sphinx, their Mirage, which I don't think is the best on the market. And I always kind of felt like their standard one was a little bit off to me. Just standard one. But when you repaint it and do a little different stuff with it, then it doesn't really matter that it doesn't match it perfectly, or it's not exactly what I wanted to see out of a G1 version. It's not G1 version. It's some other repaint. Those are perfect for exclusives because I don't want this, but I still think it looks really cool. And somebody who does want it, you'd have to say, well, it doesn't look exactly G1, but it looks decent. Now, the other thing is the fact that you add something like this translucence. Now, these were like $200 each, my understanding, as TFCon exclusives. And I gotta say, you were able to get it through other means, like probably TF Source and those places. But I remember people getting these exclusives, and they didn't have to go to the TF Cons, and there were options and ways to get them. But doesn't it look cool? Like, you could show like one side is clear, and then the other one goes to solid, and you can flip-flop them. That is such a cool idea for an exclusive. Same thing with Fans Hobby, and I have to admit, like, unless I'm just reading off the Fans Hobby, I don't know off the top of my head what they call all these. So they're just different Fans Hobbies. Actually, I might be able to. I believe this one here is called Boss Man. And it's a repaint of something they've already made, which is exactly what these should be. They should be repaints of other figures and not the main character, the main figure. This is the Fans Hobby MB19C Huntsman. And yeah, it looks pretty cool, and it's one of those figures that not everybody's going to need. You're not going to need this. So make it an exclusive. It's something that's going to cater to a very, very small market, but there are going to be people out there that really do want it, and that's pretty cool. And then this one here is, they call this one the Wingman. Wingman. It's these TFCon exclusives, and when it comes to Masterpiece, it's exactly what we need as Masterpiece collectors. Something like this that I actually don't need are the exclusives, and the mainline release stuff that's easy to get is the stuff that, of course, I really want. Now, I got 2 more points to cover real quick. I want to talk about X-Transbots here. Now, this is the G2, and if I could go back in time, I would have skipped out on their first one and gone with their G2. Because you don't know what the future holds. You never know what these companies are planning. And now that I've got 2 Minosaurs, it doesn't make sense to have 2 Minosaurs that are both just G1. Now having a G2, if I'd have done X-Transbots in the G2, then it would have made a lot more sense for me in my collection. Just sitting here looking at it and thinking, well, I wish that other one was G2. That makes sense. Now these were, I believe these were all TFCon exclusives, but man, that looks really cool once it's built, once it's together, and yeah, it looks different, and it would make a lot more sense. But, you know, back then it was just kind of a race to get it completed and kind of holding your breath. Will it get completed? And all these kinds of things. And what's the trailer going to cost? $200? You remember that nightmare? Well, anyway, that has nothing to do with the conversation, but this is really something you didn't have to jump through the hoops to get these either. They showed up pretty much everywhere, and it was pretty easy to get your hands on these. But I passed, not because it was hard to get, because they were kind of pricey, and because I already did the G1 version. I will say lately a lot of these exclusives that Hasbro's making is easier to get when it comes to Transformers, for the most part. Not all of them, but some of them. And repainted as something like this. Like, I didn't really need the GoBots. I sort of semi-wanted them, but I passed for $70 or whatever. But they're not really something that you absolutely need. I think you're getting away from that. But then they'll drop one on you out of the blue that everybody would want as a regular mainline release and put it in a 3 or 4 pack and force you. That's just a tactic they use. But let me know what you guys think about this. You feel like you're lucky as a Masterpiece collector that the exclusives generally aren't mainline releases, main characters that everybody's going to want. And do you find that some of them are just really enticing and you want to pick them up? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Tydirium Hanger out.